So we got a excessive blue smoke at idle. Not much, but enough to bother me. So a look further into the EGR. Now this doesn't look too bad. I was getting smoke underneath the hood on startup, and if I gunned it, so it turned out that somebody didn't put a gasket back onto the intake, aluminum intake, and the EGR. So we need a gasket over there. No gasket. That's why if you look down there, besides seeing the soot that I took out, that was black too, pushing the exhaust. As the EGR was closed, it was pushing it through here down onto the turbo exhaust manifold. Anyways, I'm gonna show you how dirty this thing was inside. I should have took some pictures before and after. Oh well, that's a little hard to show you, but let me show you in here. So I was gonna take this lower intake out, but these hexagon keys are just, I think this bolt is just stuck in there. So as I tried to take this bolt out, it kind of like wanted to strip. It didn't, but it wanted to, so I stopped. So I came with a different solution. Instead of taking this out, I shoved in there a napkin, made into a ball. I shoved it in there. And now you can see how much debris I took out from right here. Now it's free. So all this was in here. This is nothing. There's more probably on the ground, maybe. I don't know. Yep. There's some debris on the ground on top of the turbo because I tried to clean it both ways. I used a screwdriver that I don't need it. What I did is I bent, let me show you, I bent the tip, I heated up, and then I bent it on a vise. So it's a 90 degrees scraper, whatever you want to call it. So I was able to shove this in here like this and clean all the edges. And you can see how much is inside. I mean, that hole was almost clogged. So that was one of the problems that I think it was with the blue smoke a little bit. And not just more of a blue smoke, it was smelling. So we believe the EGR was not working properly because this hole was pretty much clogged. It did had a screwdriver did go through, barely. So I poked it through, so it had a small hole, but not efficient enough. So this video is basically to show you how these things get clogged and how I cleaned them. Like I said, just shove a napkin in there, and obviously to get that out from in there, I would definitely say use a vacuum. Don't try and pull the rag out, or also fall down into your turbo housing. Then when you start it, it'll push it back into your intake, and then into your combustion chamber, and then you might get stuck onto your valves, and then yeah, you know the rest. I did have to take out this top intake, 2 bolts came right out. You can reuse this I think this is a Viton seal. You can reuse these, and I'm gonna reuse this because after I changed injectors years back, I reuse the same gasket, which I'll show you. Still on here, see, the original, which is still good. You know when they're bad because you would see oil right over here. See all that oil? No good. Next step, we're gonna put a oil catch can. Okay, maybe I'll show you how I'm gonna set this up, possibly right here. Another problem with these cars is with this engine of the car, the grommet for your crank positive ventilation. Yeah, that did not want to come out, as you can see right here. Hard. This is supposed to come out very easy. I actually had to break it out. So basically on these 300 SD, these things after 20-30 years, they're old, they start to shake because the grommet just loses its rubber, turns into plastic. And when this shakes, well, you have 2 problems. Besides, oil is not going to come out through here, but it will suck dust from the outside through here because the grommet is not holding anymore. It goes right into your intake. Okay, intake after the filter. There's your air box. So after, so if this grommet is loose, it will suck dust into your engine, so that's not good. So we're gonna have to get this grommet. I believe we can go to the nearest store, auto store, and find an aftermarket or universal grommet for this. I'm gonna take this with me and see if we can find a grommet. But basically this is to show you that's a lot of deposit out of that hole. Make sure you use a vacuum. Do not try and pull that rag out. Most likely more than half will probably fall down. Use a vacuum and maybe use the air hose to blow it out. And here too, cover this hole right here. Whoop, right here. Cover this up with a napkin so debris doesn't fall in there, because then when you start up, we'll shoot it right back through here, and it might get stuck into your, let me show you where it's gonna get stuck. Most likely it might inside your EGR, because that will be, you know, big chunks. So does this require cleaning? This for sure, with some sandpaper. Need to clean that flat. It's got some deposit, and then get a gasket. Hopefully the dealer has it. If not, well, I'll have to make one. Gets a little harder to find parts for this 300 SD. I believe this is a 3.4 turbo diesel. So yeah, that's about it. Also, gotta make sure that this EGR works. I believe it does, because when the car is running, I pull this out and I can feel vacuum. Only when it's idling, when you give it gas, it's supposed to release. When that releases, this valve in here closes, so you don't lose boost out your exhaust. So that is about it. That's how I clean this port in here. If you do take this out, be careful. If there is a gasket, it's gonna fall down. This one did not have a gasket. Oh, and this pipe right here comes out very easy. Just one bolt, unscrew, and that's that mounts onto right here. And you just push this down. That's it.